All right, so this is Tiblio, and it's an amazing online service that helps you find the best trading opportunities. They have multiple different screeners for credit spreads, option sweeps to follow large trades and big money moves, and a lot more for your different trading strategies. There's a trading board so you can log all your trades as soon as you enter. You're gonna get real-time alerts sent straight to your phone. But the best feature is the community Discord group, where you can exchange trading ideas and get guidance from the Tiblio team. So you can sign up for $34.95 a month. That's less than a tank of gas, but make sure that you sign up with my link and get your first month for 20% off. All right, so make sure you check out Tiblio. Are you ready to level up your investing game? Well, Webull is the platform to use that lets you trade stocks, ETFs, and options with zero commissions. So you don't need to break the bank to start investing. With Webull, you can start with as little as $5. And the best part, so when you deposit $100 with Webull, then you're gonna get up to 12 free stocks. Talk about a sweet deal. Honestly, after this, you can go ahead and delete any other broker that you have. Go ahead. Webull has everything that you need at this point. So don't miss out on the fun and profits.
Cash, cash.
Join Webull today and start investing like a professional. People have asked me, why did I make a deck of candlestick review cards instead of writing a book? Well, take a look at these. Okay, these are some of the books that have influenced my thinking about these cards, and this doesn't even include audio and ebooks. Okay, so there's a lot of good information and knowledge in these books, and guess where it all ended up? Right here in these cards. It took me years to read and interpret these books. It took me months to design these cards, but it'll only take you 5 or 6 minutes to pick up one of these cards and soak up the knowledge. So get your Black Girl Stocks candlestick review cards and learn how to make money from candlestick charts today.
Foxtail from the deep.
Okay, all right, we're live. Hold on. Okay, hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Foxtail Digital coming to you again with Black Girl Stocks. And this is our Sunday live chat where we're just going to come and talk about a few different stocks and options that we're looking into for next week. And also just kind of an update on what happened last week and what we can look forward to next week, okay? So this is the prime rib of our trading, okay? So before I get into it, thank you guys for joining our live, okay? And before we get into it, make sure you guys click that thumbs up button for me. It really helps the channel. Also subscribe and click that notification bell so that you get notified anytime I upload a new video for you guys. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and just get everything set up. So if you are familiar with our lives, first we're just gonna go into what happened last week and a little bit of what we have going on next week. We're gonna start looking at our main indices, SPY, QQQ. We can do IWM. Now, I have a few different stocks that I want to look at. We'll get into that. But so I have a couple of stocks that I'm going to look at here. And if you guys want to look at any, make sure you leave it in the comment section below. And we're going to get into it. Okay, so first, while I'll give everybody a time to join the chat. So let's just kind of go over what happened last week in the stock market, okay? So this is really interesting. So NASDAQ and SPY, they kind of had a little bit of a pullback week last week. It was a little bit bearish, okay? And we had some pretty interesting inflation data that came out. So the first one was the CPI data from July, okay? So the consumer inflation report for July did show that the headline and core consumer price index remain unchanged pretty much for last month, okay? And because of this, they're anticipating that the Federal Reserve is going to keep our interest rate, from increasing this next, I think it's in September, okay? So yeah, this essentially means that prices for goods and services didn't go up or down that much, okay? So this is going to be pretty interesting. It's kind of good news, but it was a little bit shaky because we also had the PPI data come out. So we had the producer inflation data came out, and it was a little bit higher than they were expecting in July. And so what this basically means is that we could have higher prices for producers, and that trickles down to us, the consumers. So, we could have less spending going into the next quarter. Now, the other interesting thing was Disney. So they had their third straight quarterly drop, okay? I don't know why I did that to them. But yeah, so they had a decline in their subscribers, but the stock still kind of had a rebound because they just introduced ads. Okay, so they're going to have a new ad tier, and they're cracking down on passwords just like Netflix is. And the last thing that was interesting is from last week that California regulators approved for Google's Waymo and General Motors Cruise to expand to their vehicle operations. So this is going to be interesting. We're going to have basically empty taxis. So this is definitely going to affect companies like Uber and Lyft with their human drivers. Okay. Now, what can we expect going into next week? Okay. Next week is going to be focused on more consumer earnings releases. Okay, so we're going to have a lot of companies with earnings. Okay, so the main ones are going to be Home Depot, TJ Maxx, Target, and things like that, Walmart. And if you remember, their last earnings wasn't so great for the Home Depot and Target, so it did show that consumers were spending less on those higher ticket items. Kava's on here too, so that was a new IPO that, Mediterranean. Okay, yes. I haven't gone there before, but Kava looks pretty interesting. Now, just kind of going into this next week of earnings, Bank of America economists are feeling pretty good about July sales. So apparently the company's credit and debit card data show that people are actually spending a lot more during the July 4th holiday. So we could have some interesting earnings reports from these retail. So next week is going to be really interesting. Thank you to Earnings Whispers, of course, for posting this. And then the last thing that is going to be interesting is we're going to have our FOMC minutes from last month. So this is just going to give us a little bit more of insight to, how the Federal Reserve is feeling with inflation dropping the way it is. Because if you just kind of look at this inflation, what is this inflation? If you look at this inflation chart, we definitely hit our peak around 9% mid 2022. And you can see how much it has dropped down to, hold on, let me see. We're slightly over 3%, but their goal is below 2%. So, we're getting there, and that's why the market is so hell-bent on them not raising interest rates anymore this year. So this is going to be really interesting going into the rest of the year. And on that note, let's look at SPY and see what she's talking about. So last week when we were looking, we were kind of right here around this peak. And so you see we did have that pullback, but just here on the daily chart up here, we had this pullback to this orange line here. This is based off of our volume profile indicator. And essentially you can use that as the value area high point. So a lot of people will look at this as a resistance, just based on this bit of financial price movement here. So if this is looked at as a resistance, I need to see what's going to happen around this. This is a very important point. Because, we could either, if we have a bearish breakdown here, it could get ugly. Okay, we could have bearish movement back down to 400 for SPY. But then again, if we have a rebound here, you can kind of see, we're going to move to the 4-hour chart in a minute. We've had some consolidation here. It looks like with the RSI, and it's around 40 So we can see what happens here. Are we going to have a rebound? I mean, this is honestly crucial. This is a crucial time. So are we going to have a bullish rebound back up to potentially, you know, that 450 range? And as far as a breakout of a continuation in this long-term uptrend that we've been in, looking on the daily chart, I'm going to need a breakout above this 450, 451. That's what I would need to see. Now moving down to the 4-hour chart, you can kind of see that's literally where our super trend indicator is here. So that's what I'm going to look at long-term for bullish movement with SPY. It's getting kind of nasty here. And then going to this over here, this is our 1-hour chart. So it's a little bit closer, and you can see it has been using this 50 period moving average. That's the white line here. It's been using the 50 period moving average as a resistance point. So I want to see, you know, what is it going to do next week? Are we going to have a bullish breakout kind of around this 446? Just going straight into next week, I would need to see a bullish breakout above this 446, or we would continue in this downtrend. So for that, bearish for me, I will probably have it around 444 to 443. Just kind of going off of that. So let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think going into next week? Do you think that we're going to have a bullish continuation? Do you think this was just a short little pullback and we're going to break above that 450? Or do you see us moving down below that 444 area and potentially moving back down to 420? So let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think about SPY for next week? And then I'm going to get into the comments. Hey, Terry. Voodoo Vibes of Joe Virgo. I know that's right. DC Roscoe, prices have not come down and inflation has not come down, but retail earnings could be great because of the inflation prices on items. Hey, Foxy. Hey, Incognito. Fernando Roman. That's a cute name. It's very strong. Fernando Roman. I like that. Ocean Goose, yo. Okay, I'm gonna put NVDA on the list. Oh, I forgot to say that too. So one thing to think about before we get into our analysis. So the top sector last week was energy. I don't have an electric thing on there. If I had a thing, I would do that. So electricity was the top sector last week, up 7%. So think about stocks like Oxy, XOM, Devian, and the ETF XLE. That's a lot of letters, but we're going to go into some of that. I'm not going to just throw all that at you. The worst sector was information tech. Okay, so that's going to be stocks like AMD, NVIDIA, Apple, Intel, and Microsoft. Okay. Let me see. Ulta. Okay, do they have earnings next week? Does Ulta have earnings? Are they on here? I'm not sure, but Ulta is definitely probably going to see some movement with this retail stuff. So I'll put that on the list. Let me see. Ocean Goose says, I have puts for next week. Short-term bearish from Court. Court, yeah. Penny Bags. Oh, I like that name. Bearish. The Common Garden says a bounce, then back down. Ooh. James says, I think we bounce back up this week. We'll see. We'll see, James. SPY calls this week from Terrence. Okay. I think it's going to keep going down a little bit, but resistance at the 444. Let me see, 444. Yeah. I see what you're saying, Fernando. So we'll see what happens, you know. Just set your limits around this area. So this is what you guys can do. Just set your limits. Set an alert. Hold on. What? Oh, okay. Weeble just had an update. So he always changes stuff. Okay, so we can put bullish there, and then for bearish we put, what was it, 444? I say 440, yeah, 444. Okay, so I'll kind of tailor that a little bit later, but yeah, that's kind of what I would do. And we'll just see what happens with that. Now let's go to QQQ, you guys, and then we're going to get into some things, okay? And make sure you guys click that thumbs up too. Okay, QQQ definitely looks the same. You already know. So on the daily chart, strong uptrend, and we have this pullback right to the 50 period moving average. That's that white line. We're gonna need to see. We do have some support there from last month, so around July, early July, we have some, you know, some slight support there. So let's see. And this is interesting. Moving to the 4-hour chart, you remember how we were talking about the orange line being resistant? So right here, we're at this red line. This is the value area low. So this is usually looked at as a support area. So we're just going to have to see. Who was that said a bounce back? Who was that? The Common Gardens? Fernando. Okay, I don't know who said it, but like I said, I just really want to see how it reacts around this support level. So for QQQ, I'm just going to keep it simple. I would probably put a bullish entry probably around this 369. I know it's a little bit further from where we closed 363, but that's where I would put my alert. So 369 for bullish, and for bearish, I probably say 364. So I'll do that too. So just set your alerts there, you guys. And that's, I mean, if you're going to trade QQQ, that's how I would play that going into next week. Okay. So the stocks that I want to look at for sure tonight are going to be Google. I want to check out Walmart. They have their earnings next week. Let's look at ARKK. We're going to do NVDA, Ulta, XLE, Alibaba. I'm going to look at Alibaba. We had some news with China last week, so that's going to be good. That's a long way down on the SPY to the EMA. Yeah, it is a long way. Okay. So first, let's do NVIDIA really quickly, since I was in the worst sector last week. And that's okay. Worst sector, that just means a good pullback. That's all that means. It means nothing more. Ooh. Wow. Okay, so looking on the daily chart for NVIDIA, once again, you can see we've been in a pretty strong uptrend, and this looks very similar to SPY. So let me take these off. Hold on. So you can see we definitely had, we pretty much had a strong pullback since July. So NVIDIA has been, well, that makes sense because we had that $100 price change after their earnings. So it kind of makes sense that NVIDIA is looking to have a potential pullback. I don't know, on this daily chart, once I see it kind of cross below that 50 period moving average, it's giving me bearish signals. But we do have that support around 406. So for me, if I was going to be bearish on NVIDIA, just anticipating that pullback, I could definitely see a target around 370. That's the next support zone. So if we cross below 402, so you see we kind of have some support around this 402. We've already crossed below this support at, what is this, 417. So yeah, if we had a bearish cross below that 403, I can definitely see it coming back to that 370 area. Ooh, I'm trying to see where I would put my entry though. I mean, I want to put it around 403. So it closed at 407, 403. It's a little bit further away. but that's just what I would feel comfortable with. 403. That's just for me. So for me, I would put a bearish entry around 403 if I was anticipating a stronger pullback with NVIDIA to this support around 374. But if we had that bullish rebound, 317, oh my. I would look for entry maybe around 410. I feel like the best entry would be around 417, but I could see some entry around 410. You see how low the RSI is. It crossed below the 30 on the 4-hour chart. So, you know, we can kind of see what happens with that. So what do you guys think about NVIDIA? Let me know in the comments below. After that 100, look at this gap up right here. This was all from earnings, child. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think that NVIDIA is going to have a bullish bounce off of this somewhat support area around this 3? I mean, it's a little interesting here. I guess kind of where we are around 400 to the 390 range. But do you think we're going to have support around this area, or do you see it closing this gap up that we had after their earnings? So let me know. Okay, this is from SPY. Gustavo said, we're going down all the way to the holidays now, SPY to 420. Dang. Get your puts ready. Tech, we should see the 20 moving average since we broke under it. Oh, we should retest. Okay. The Magnificent Seven are all in correction mode, and we did the breakout. Okay, I can see that. I think that this is from Ocean Goose. I think all started to tank after the Fed speak, downgrade our credit. Oh, last week, who was that? Fitch. Incognito said it's below the 48 exponential moving average on the daily, so I think we may visit the downside. But NVIDIA has had some great bounce after the pullback before earnings. Okay. Well, we'll see. They are saying the AI bubble may be popping. I promise you, if I hear AI one more time, I'm not impressed. I mean, just show me. Show me. I want to see some numbers now. Okay, so we'll see what happens with NVIDIA. To be honest, I haven't been trading too much with them. I may do a little day trade or something, but NVIDIA hasn't been my go-to lately. So let's look at Google, and then let's run over to GM real quick just to kind of see what's going on after that news. Then I want to look at Walmart before their earnings, and let's take a look at the energy sector. So I'm going to look at some stocks over there, and then if you guys want to look at anything, just put it in the comments. Okay. It's not updating. Okay. Okay. So Google has been in a pretty strong uptrend. I would say since about March, late March, definitely once we crossed above this 200 on the daily chart. So it's been doing this thing. Now, where we are, this is an interesting, so it looks like it's kind of ranging, and I did put this here. I think I was trading it last week. I see some resistance here around this 132, and we've had some support around 128. So it's kind of been trading in that small range for a couple of weeks. So for this, oh wow, and this is right, we have some resistance here. This is back from June. So we have some resistance here too. I really want to see what happens. I would need to see a breakout of this zone. So that's kind of what I would want to see for Google. Moving to the 4-hour chart. Oh, this is tight. Okay. So we're kind of right here at this high volume area, kind of around 129. So for me, I feel like the bearish breakout, it's a little bit closer than the bullish breakout is for me. If I was going to look for that bullish breakout, I can just use this super trend area right here. And this is right where I have this line. So it would be kind of around 130 to 133 for a long-term bullish breakout. So this is definitely swing trading. And if you're kind of looking my Discord group, I mostly do swing trades. So I may put in a trade. I'll say, okay, I'm looking at this on Monday, and it may not kind of start to do its thing maybe until Tuesday or Wednesday. So these are definitely based on swing trading. So that's I would want to see a breakout probably around that 130, 132, 133 range. But bearish breakout is right here, honey. I would have my entry at 127. I mean, once you saw that breakout below that 127, it's probably out of there. Wow. And I can see it coming back to 124, potentially 120. And then once it reached there, then I would just, kind of want to reevaluate what we could see after that pullback. So, I mean, but just after this news with Google and, their automated vehicle services, this could be good long term. So let me know what you guys think about Google. Let's just look at GM really quickly. Actually, let me just look at some options really quickly. Hold on. Let's just theoretically look at options maybe 30 days out for Google. I'm going to do both those. That's not terrible. So if you kind of see here, let me see. I like it. Look like that. Okay. So this, I prefer mine to be in ascending strike prices, but we have some decent premiums, 140, 100, delta around 25, 18, decent, very high open interest. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's go to GM. Stuck up kid. We did SPY first, so rewind it back to the beginning. Oh, okay, you already said that. Incognito said I'm holding Apple and Coinbase calls, crossing my fingers. Let's look. Okay, next let's look at Apple and Coinbase and let's see what they're talking about. After GM. Ooh. Okay, GM. I see what's going on. Now this looks interesting. Now, I really can't say GM. I can say it looks like it's been ranging after a pretty strong downtrend. So you kind of see a good little pattern here. What I'm interested in is how low this RSI is. You see here on the 4-hour chart, we have some support back here. And this is all the way back from June, around 33. So that's kind of where we are. And what's interesting is back then when we were around this 33, see how high the RSI was. And now we're here and the RSI is this low. Is this okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think I may be bullish on GM, just kind of going based off of this pattern, seeing how low the RSI is. So for me, if I was going to kind of go off of this pattern and anticipate it finding a bottom here, and they're going to have an earnings report coming up in October. Okay. Anticipating GM returning to this high volume around 38. I'm not going to make it too difficult. Going here to the 4-hour chart, I'm just going to use the super trend indicator, and I would set my entry around 35. So if I was going to have an alert, I would set it around 35. Yeah, that's what I would do for GM. And just kind of go into, and my target would be around $40 for the target. So let's say if I was gonna, wait, one more moment. If I was gonna anticipate it taking, let's just do 30 days out. Option premiums are decent open interest, decent delta. So GM might be cute, and the daily volume is around 20 million. So that's something I can see myself trading. So that's something to look at for next week. Now, let's look at Apple and Coinbase. Calls and puts are not working. The market makers are scammers. So if that is your experience, then have you looked at more neutral trading strategies like credit spreads, iron condors? Okay, let's look at Apple. So yeah, just like SPY, it looks like Apple had a pretty good pullback last week also. Something that's interesting. You can see here we have high volume here at 172. So is Apple going to return to that 172, or are we consolidating for a return in this uptrend here? Definitely see some consolidation from last week. So for me, if I was considering this pullback and looking for bullish entry, wow. Okay, so we closed at 177. If I was going to go off of the super trend indicator, I would probably have, they have it around 182. That's a little, I mean, that's definitely further in the week if that did happen. Yeah, that's a little bit. I mean, 180, 182. That's probably where I would put my bullish entry. Bearish, a lot closer. Bearish entry, 176. So that's $1. So I don't know. We'll see what happens next week. But because this sector was so bearish, and the market is so hell-bent, like I said, on, no more interest rate increases and inflation going down, we could possibly see a bullish pullback. So, like I said, if I was anticipating that, I'm just going to keep it around 180. Higher would be 182, but that would be a definite bullish breakout. And if Apple crossed above that 182, I mean, the sky's the limit at that point. I could definitely see it coming back to that 196, 196, 190 area. So that's just the kind of the limits that I would set. And I would have to see that break out of that consolidation that has had the past few days last week for Apple. So breakouts are important. Okay. A lot of these look very similar. Same thing with Coinbase. Long-term downtrend. It just started to make its way above the 50 and the 200 period moving average. Now let's see what happens. It's been using that as a resistance for so long. this 50-period moving average, the white line. You can see it's been using it as a resistance. And now let's see right where we are right here, if it uses it as a support. So that's kind of what I would want to see. So this is around 78. I would make a little line here. Wait, you said you have calls already. So yeah, that's kind of what I would want to see. I would want to see if Coinbase uses this potential 80 as a support for that 50-period moving average on the daily. See if we use that as a support and continue upwards. If I feel like if it crossed below that 80, then it's probably going to continue dropping. I mean, potentially to 72, and then my next level would be around 61. So that's what I would want to see for Coinbase. I want to see, is it going to use this 50-period moving average as a support around 78? I guess that's anticipating for it to fall more, and it may not fall to that next week. So bullish, I would probably say 83. 85 would be better. So yeah, that's just what I would want to see for Coinbase. Now, I just want to take a break and go to the energy sector really quickly. Text said Apple may bounce off of the 173 to 187, then continue back to 164. We will see. All right, let's look at the energy sector really quickly. So I did extremely well last week with energy. I felt like I was holding on to them for a while. XOM, I'm sorry. Friday was a good day. I had XOM and XLE. I was eating it up with the profits, eating it up. Now, I definitely exited out of my positions though. I didn't want to be greedy. So I don't know why I wanted to look at this. I'm trying to see if the bull run for energy, is it going to run out? Okay, has it run its course? So you can kind of see we had some support here, resistance here from April around 86, zoomed out of that, bursted out of that. And we do have some previous resistance from January around 90, where we are right here. So I want to see what XLE is going to do. Is it going to use this resistance from before? Are we going to have a pullback? Or, I mean, if it blows out of that, I really don't know. This candle close, that looks pretty interesting. What is that? A hammer. So it could go either way. I'm just trying to see. I would want to see either two things. I would either want to see a bullish breakout above this 90, 92, or a pullback to 87. So this resistance here. So I don't know. I don't know what to see with XLE. What do you guys think? XOM was great. Did you see alerts on XLE from the Discord? How did it get on your radar? Because I follow sectors. So just how I said the top sector was the energy sector. It was up 7%. So stocks that you would want to look at on a sector that's up: Oxy, XOM, DVN, XLE. And then also my Discord, I have bots in there, and that was something that was called out also. So that put it on my radar. So there's multiple things. I don't know about XLE. It's really not on my radar for next week to trade, honestly. So I just kind of wanted to look at it. I got a lot of profits from last week, so I don't know how it's going to move this week. Let's do XOM, and then I want to look at DVN too. Same thing with XOM. I'm wondering if most of the bullish profit happened last week, and we may see a little pullback. But even for XOM, you can kind of see we have some resistance around 118. That's a little bit further back. So we do have some room to grow potentially. But on the 4-hour chart, that RSI is so high, I wouldn't mind seeing a pullback here also next week. So we'll see what happens with XOM. They may have a pullback, just the energy sector period. I want to look at DVM real quick too. And then after that, okay, after that, we can look at MULN. I want to look at Alibaba, ARKK. Dang, I said Walmart too. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're going to have to speed this up. Walmart. And then if you guys want to look at one, put it in the comments section. But after that, I think we'll be pretty good to go for next week. Okay. Let's do DVN. So this is for Tanya. Wow. See, this looks a little bit different. So DVN on the daily chart, it was in a pretty strong uptrend last year. We kind of had a little pullback around January below the 50 and the 200 period moving averages. It looks like it just kind of had that little bullish cross on the 50 around July. So this is technically like a value zone. They say when the stock is between the 50 and the 200 period moving average, that's the value zone. So we need to see what's going to happen. First, I would want to see, is it going to use the 50 period as a support now? So I want to see what it does around that 49. This looks pretty interesting. Bullish though, I mean, if we saw that breakout above that 52, 54, we can see it potentially move its way back up to 60 and potentially 70. So for me, going to the 4-hour chart, if I was going to use the super trend indicator, it has bullish entry around 52 as well, but I may move it a little bit closer around 51 if I was trading DVN. But bearish, it seems like it's closer. Bearish would be a breakout above that 49. So, I mean, at that point, we cross below the support from last week, and, we can have that potential pullback to maybe 47, 44 to 47 to 44 on the long run. 44 long run, 47 a little bit shorter. Yeah, so that would be the next level for me, bearish. That would be 47, and then once we cross below that 47, then you get into the 44. But bullish, like I said, bullish continuation. I would really want to see a breakout above that 51, and that's really not too far from where we closed last week. Excuse me, the RSI seems somewhat neutral at 40, so we're really just gonna have to wait for a breakout, wait for a break. 51. So yeah, energy sector was up. We'll see. Now, let's look at MULN really quickly. And make sure you guys click that thumbs up button for me too. MULN Automotive. Okay. The price action is very small. I don't think I'm gonna get much from the daily. Okay. So just kind of moving, oh my gosh, to the 4-hour chart. I mean, pretty strong downtrend. I don't look at penny stocks. This is definitely a penny stock. If I was going to trade this and I was bullish, I would have a bullish breakout. I would just use the super indicator, the super trend indicator, and it looks like it's around this volume profile. Very strong volume around $1.16 to $1.19. So I would need to see a bullish breakout of that if I'm looking for a bullish pullback here. I mean, it's been pretty bearish though. So just bearish continuation in that overall trend. Pretty easy. I would probably set my bearish entry maybe at 95 cents. Okay. Maybe 85. So that's a low on this wick from last Friday. So we'll see. I would just need to see that breakout. $1.19, $1.20, or 92 cents to 80, 89, 87. So that's kind of where that range is for me. Once again, neutral RSI. Where is this? A dollar. Oh, hold on. So on the hourly chart, 200 period moving average around $1.10. Okay. So we'll see. Yeah, I can see that. $1.10 closer entry. So that's something I would see for MULN. And then let's see what the contracts will look. Oh, this doesn't have options on it. Oh no. I wouldn't look at it anyway, but they have pretty high volume, 49 million. So I mean, a dollar, you know, you can get 100 of these and see what happens. So okay, all right, let's go to Alibaba next. Hey Chase. Oh, PLTR is a move. Oh. Okay, we're gonna have to wrap this up. We'll do PLTR too if I can fit it in. PLTR. Incognito MULN is disappointing me. They just did another reverse split. Ooh. You know what that means. All right, let's do Alibaba really quickly and see what they're talking about. This stock stays popping up in the Discord, but sometimes you have to be careful with Alibaba. The volatility is too high. Okay. So it looks like Alibaba was in a pretty strong downtrend for a while. We're starting to kind of make our little bullish move. So you do see we have some higher highs, higher lows here. We're above our 50 and our 200 period moving average, and it looks like just slightly we had that 50 period cross above the 200. So long term is trying to look bullish. Now moving to the 4-hour chart. Who chose this? I picked this one. Alibaba, it's not really giving me too much. So, I mean, it does look like we have some support around this 93. So we closed at 95. So slightly lower than where we are. For me, if I was anticipating this bullish continuation, I would probably want to see definitely a bearish breakout above this high volume that we have right here around this 97. But I mean, even the super trend, perfect would be 99. Perfect entry for bullish would be 99. Or 97 would be okay. Alibaba is kind of interesting. Another breakout that I would need to see for that one. I don't know why I picked this. I don't know why I picked Alibaba. Okay. So yeah, we'll see with that one. I don't know if that's something that I would really trade next week. It's not really giving me too much. Let's look at PLTR. So this is interesting. Once again, this looks similar to a lot of the stocks that we saw. Strong pullback that we've had, but you can kind of see we have a lot of volume here. Okay, 576 million traded around $15.22. So we have a lot of volume right here. You can kind of see we did a little bit. We have some resistance, some support around this zone. So I want to see, are we going to use this 15 as a support? Now, if we move, Now, I know on the daily chart we did have the stock cross below the 50, and that is bearish, but a lot of times it does kind of seem to still use that as a support. It'll have a little breakout, but we just have to monitor it and see. Now, moving down here to the 4-hour chart, a lot of support, strong volume, strong support here, right where we are around this 15, just like we saw up here. RSI is a little bit lower, so this may be, you know, this could be a good entry position for a continuation in. Oh crap, I literally just read some article about PLTR this morning, and they said it's gonna pull back, will be short-lived. He's talking about 260% upside. And isn't yeah. Let me know in the comments below, are you guys still bullish on PLTR? They said I think they had their earnings last week. They're incorporating AI. There's a lot of demand for their product. And I mean, Palantir just looks like they're going to continue in this uptrend. It looks like they're maintaining their business practices well, according to the article that I read. SoFi has been disappointing. So yeah, I don't know, you guys. We're gonna have to see with PLTR, but this is something. So this is something that I like to look at. Just like if we looked at that Alibaba, it wasn't giving me too much trading opportunity. I know it's gonna move, but nothing that I would be interested in tracking. But PLTR, this looks like something that I would like. So I'm putting this on my own list. Okay, now let's do two more. Let's look at ARKK. Now, ARKK has popped up several times in my trading group for bearish movement. Ooh. We're going to have to see. So, interesting. Like a lot of the stocks that we've seen, we do have some support right here for this is around June. Okay, right here where we are, we have some strong support around $44. Now, it did move below. Okay, you see it kind of cross below that support. So I want to see what happens next week. The best thing that I would see, I would kind of want to see it have a bullish move upwards, and I want to see, is it going to use this strong, okay, support as a new resistance, hit that poop, pop off it, and continue downward. We're going to see. I would hope not, though. I mean, this is an investment group. You would hope that Kathy, you know, they have their range. They shouldn't be dropping that much. So we'll see. If I was going to take a bearish position, I feel like the best entry, let me see. I mean, look, it's been using that 50-period moving average as a good little resistance. So I feel like if you were going to have a stop or something like that, I'll probably have my stop. Let me see where I'll put my stop. Probably around 44. But a good bearish entry for me, perfect. I feel like perfect bearish entry for me is going to be around 41, and the only reason why I say that is we have some support here around like 41.50 from June, mid-June. So I would probably put my entry there. Actually, I'm going to do that right now. And so that if I was going to take that bearish trade, that's what I would want to see. Increasing volume and across below that that 41 for ARKK. Now, we can look at Walmart for their earnings, and then I'll probably wrap it up tonight. If anybody has something else that they want to look at, Noah says, I have 10 Noah says, I have 10 Palantir shares I've been sitting on to swing. I have some ARK in my long-term portfolio. I trust Kathy's vision. I know that's right. Let's look at Walmart. Oh, wow. Are you freaking kidding me? That's Walmart? Wow. Okay, so Walmart, I mean, she's not strong uptrend. Now let's look at some of her previous earnings. Even Walmart on their last earnings, I thought that they did well. They had a little dip. Yeah, after their earnings, they've had dips. These past 2 earnings, there's been a little dip. The earnings from November was pretty good. So we're just going to have to see. I think with the earnings for Walmart, Target, and stuff like that, it's really going to be based on the consumer sentiment. I really don't know about this one, you guys. Because the only thing that we would be looking for is either a continuation or a reversal. So, I mean, as far as continuation goes, I mean, so we have some resistance, some strong resistance. This last resistance point around 157. Okay, so for me, going to this 4-hour chart down here, for bearish movement, I would probably want to see a bearish breakout above that, below that 159. And the reason why is, we just have some slight consolidation here, and this is the value area high according to this volume profile, and it looks kind of the way it's shaped here with the strong volume on the bottom, kind of B-shaped. It looks a little bearish, so I kind of wouldn't mind seeing a little pullback to maybe 153 for Walmart. So if I was going to have an entry for that, I mean, even the super trend is at 158, but I'll probably set my entry at 160. But they have earnings next week, so I probably wouldn't want to mess with them too much anyway. As far as calls and puts, it's always a risk when you just do calls and puts around earnings. It can go extremely well, but it may not, especially with the IV crush that happens the day after. So actually, let's go to Tiblio really quickly. Shouts out to Tiblio. And should I say it on live? Okay, this is towards the end of the live. Some people, they don't make it to the end, so I'm just going to say it for the people that are watching. If you do use Tiblio, I am going to have a new video that I want to make because they've changed so much. And I want an in-depth video on each one of these different screeners that they have. I mean, low beta stocks. So, I mean, basically, when you talk about beta looks at how closely a stock trades with SPY and stuff like that. So if you have a stock that has a low beta, it's usually safer. It's usually a safer bet. But if you have something that has a beta that's greater than 1, I believe like Tesla's beta is 2.9. So those are stocks that trade a lot more. They have a higher volatility. So let's say if SPY is bullish, then Tesla is probably going to have a crazy bullish increase. So if you had calls on that, those would probably be extremely profitable if SPY was bullish. Let me see. Oh, okay. So we're looking for earnings. So, oops. Hold on. Let's actually do 2 things here. And then this is going to be the last thing, you guys, and then I'll let you go. So earnings calendar is really great with Tiblio because they'll let you know very important things. So let's just look at Walmart. So we can see they have their earnings on the 17th. I don't know what day that is. What is that, Friday or something? Okay, this is actually Thursday before the market opens, and they have an implied move of around $4 to $6.50. So if I was going to take a credit receiving position, I would have my limits around $4 or $6. So let's say if I was bearish, I would probably have my limits probably around 167. And you can see this too. Once you go over here to the credit spreads, type in the symbol Walmart. They're going to show you some of the credit spreads and the strike prices. So you see a strike price limits that we see right here, 167 to 170. For a bearish call credit spread. So this may be a position that I take, and it has expiration date on August the 18th. That's the closest to their earnings report. So that is how a lot of times I pick, I'd love to use Tiblio. So if you guys haven't, make sure you check them out. Link is in my description, 20% off of your first month. But yeah, so I think I'm going to do something with Walmart, actually. Thank you. Oh no, actually I did have one put that I wanted to look at though, that this is actually from my trading group. So this was called out by the bot in my group. It says Walmart $5 put August 18th. What? That's not right. Hold on, you guys. Strike price 160. 200. So for me, yeah, 5,000 volume, 3,000 open interest, very cute. I may look into getting that one, but I feel like I would probably grab this 1.45 and probably get 2 or 3 of those. 157.5 put. So that's kind of something that I'm looking at for next week. So yeah, looks like it's going to be a pretty interesting week going into earnings. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, you guys. I think this is a really good live, very legendary. Okay, so thank you guys for joining. Okay. And I hope that everybody has an amazing, profitable trading week. Make sure you guys thumbs up this video, and I hope to have some amazing videos coming out for you next week. I'm working on them right now. A lot goes into these videos, so that's why I feel like it takes me a little bit of time to put it out, but I really want these videos to be something that you can go to and reference forever. Okay, so all right, you guys, I'll see you on the next video. Have a good week. I love you guys. Bye.